Okay, good morning.
Hey,
Hi, Dad.
buenos dias. Good morning.
Happy Shamanic Sundays, everyone. Good to
Oh,
see you all. Good to see you, Poppy.
good to see you.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm happy to be alive, and it's a sunny day, and we're connecting, and through our connecting, opportunity to reach out and connect with other people.
Amen. Amen. So, as always, good to see you folks here, and we thank you for being here. Thank you for this day and this moment, and for joining us. Please share where you're joining us from, any questions you have, how you're feeling this morning in the comments, and we'll do our best to get back to everyone. And if not this week, then next week. And Poppy, you want to start us off with a prayer of gratitude?
Thank you for this breath. Without this breath, we wouldn't have our lives. And so, you, great mystery power of the universe, creator, give us this breath of life, and give us this day, and give us this sacred moment of now, and give us the gift of our awareness in our bodies, in our minds, and hearts and spirits to consciously choose what we want to pay attention to. So, being alive right now, gratitude for being able to focus attention on connection with you and our interconnectedness with all of life and Mother Earth and nature and the cosmos and each other. And may we use that connection wisely to bring through more healing, light, and love, and let it flow out into the world.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's start off because we have a couple new folks here with just a really brief description, if you would, of what is shamanism.
Welcome to the new folks. So shamanism is really refers to, in my understanding of it, my experience of it, you might say a set of techniques and practices and develop skills to be able to open a doorway of awareness to greater awareness beyond the ego, the spirit world, the great mystery, the quantum field, maybe Western folks would say, and to be able to create the learning and the initiatory processes of shamanism and shamanic initiation, to be able to not just open that doorway to connect consciousness with the greater consciousness and all the spirits in the spirit world and the great spirit, but to be able to create relationships with those spirits so that in allyship and conjunction and working with them, you can bring through helpful, supportive medicine for what the people need. So it's not a religion. In fact, the indigenous people don't have a word for religion. They just have a way of living. There's no separation in their minds and their understanding of how the universe works, which is actually more accurate understanding of how the universe works than the distorted one we've gotten in the Western Eurocentric belief system that's faulty because it teaches us to believe in separation, which is an illusion, which gets us into the problems we have. So shamanism, it goes back to the indigenous people that we all are, wherever our color of our skin or current religion or where we live, we all go back far enough into our human roots, and we're all shamanic people, where we all know the universe is alive, nature's alive, everything's alive, has consciousness, has a spirit, and we know how to work in harmony and balance with those spirits to sustain healthy life. And then some people in our indigenous groups have a predilection for making that connection to the spirit world and creating ally relationships with spirits to be able to hopefully serve a fullest blossoming greatest good of what the people need. That's my understanding of shamanism.
Thank you. It's interesting how we have supposedly the separation of church and state, and because a lot of the primary religions of modern times are very us, them, not that we're all connected, like indigenous wisdom is more based on that natural wisdom of everything being connected, that we're all part of this one big web of life, one big ecosystem with all kinds of smaller ecosystems underneath that. So the fact that we had to set up like a separation of church and state in our current government, when our religions are create so much turmoil and more separation, instead of reminding us that we're all connected. And yeah, just curious and reflective of the times. But here we are today, all of us trying to remember that we are all connected, and bring that forward in the way we treat people and each other and ourselves. So speaking of how we treat ourselves, starting with our own heartbeat, one of the questions that came in last week from one of our community members is, you said something, apparently, Dad, about the heart emitting a certain number of photons per minute. But when someone meditates from the heart chakra, the photons per minute go up significantly. So could you first tell us what photons are, and what does that even mean, that the heart emits photons?
Yeah. Well, my understanding of the word photon refers to particles or waves of light energy. Western science calls the light energy radiating from the sun that gives us our life, that polishes up our stardust. Our body's made of stardust, photons. And in life, whatever we pay attention to, whatever we put the focus of our consciousness and pay attention to, it's like, metaphorically, it's picking up the hose, you turn the spigot on, you go out in the garden, and then you make a decision where you're going to focus that hose, to which plants you're going to water. And those plants that you water get more juice. They're getting more juice, and so they respond to that juice by growing. So whatever we choose to put our attention to, whatever thought or feeling or image or symbol we choose to focus the gift of our attention on, grows stronger. There's more energy there. It's like with a laser, or the energy in a light bulb is scattered light. So it's soft, kind of fragmented light. It's just soft, different wavelengths of it. And you put all that energy that's in the light bulb, and you focus it just in one beam, it can reach the intensity of a laser to just cut through. So too with our mind and our attention. So when we choose to have a desire to connect with the love inside of our heart, that, like the breath is given by the creative power of the universe, the love that's in our heart, that's the essence of our being, and we're feeling sad or depressed or frightened or scared or lonely or discouraged or whatever, then our kind of like our hearts are closed down. There's a constriction over our hearts, and it's hard to breathe, and that love that's in there is like got a big thick blanket on it. And so with every breath in, we have opportunity to choose again what we put our attention into. So if I choose to, I want to reopen my awareness to my connection. It's always been there, but I've lost touch with it, with the creative wisdom, infinite underlying love light energy that's the essence of my being, all being, and the universe. Choice of attention. So I'm going to breathe down into my heart. I'm just going to breathe my awareness down into my heart, and just take in that breath of energy, that fuel, send it down into my heart, and then think about my heart softening and opening. And the way a flower opens with the first rays of light in the morning, opens its petals to receive that light, I visualize the petals of love and tenderness and kindness and strength and confidence and energy and creativity and wisdom in my heart. Those flowers, those metaphorical flowers blossoming with that energy, like the flower getting the water coming from the hose. So the photons, and it's been measured apparently by people at the Heart Math Institute, I think down in Stanford or that area, with somehow they're able to measure the vibrational rate or amount of the photons in our normally beating heart. And apparently when we take some time to focus our attention on softening, opening our heart, opening our awareness through our heart to love's presence, to spirit's presence, and slowing down and letting go of any thoughts that get in the way of that, and just releasing, letting go, opening, the quantity, energy level of vibrations, the photons in our hearts grows brighter, grows stronger. They can literally measure meaningful difference between when we're doing that, focusing on our heart with that positive energy and fueling it, and when we're not. basically, to me, one of the things that's saying is we have the ability to take more control about the state of our consciousness in the moment. If we hold that as an intention, and we have some tools that we practice, because especially when the going gets tough, we practice those tools to help us focus our attention like a laser instead of scattered on the choice of what we want to pay attention to. That's going to get stronger. It's going to get stronger. It's going to get brighter. It's going to expand, and it feeds back to us the power potential we have as human beings through our access to the creative wisdom power of the universe to create our state of consciousness, co-created with spirit in the moment of being alive.
Thank you. I think one of my favorite phrases that you use a lot is the creative wisdom of the universe.
Creative, I call it the create, when I remember it all, creative wisdom, power, energy, the creating, present tense, because it's not like the universe was created in the past. It's being created every moment. And our experience of it is being created every moment. So present tense, the creating wisdom, power, energy of the universe. Call that God, call it the Tao, call it Joe Schmo, call it whatever you want, or don't call it, but it is. It's source of all.
Yeah. What do you like, you know, well, two questions that come up. One, I'm curious, like how you would say shamanism and the creating wisdom power of the universe, like how does that work for like atheists and agnostics? I mean, I guess it's like we're holding our beliefs, whatever it is, and the universe goes on. But if we're co-creating, what does that look like?
What it looks like is what we co-create. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, it just keeps happening.
Yeah.
So I think one of the one of the things that I think, well, I find challenging for myself, and I know a lot of people do, is you know, I agree with all of this, and I 100% believe, like when, you know, the phrase that you use a lot in your work that you encourage, you know, people to use, that I am a sacred, worthy, luminous being. I am love, and my love is forgiving. In fact, I had a funny, not funny, but a couple months ago, I ended up in the ER, and the nurse was really inappropriate, telling me that he doesn't like human beings. That was like our first encounter together as he's treating me. Yeah.
Unhappy camper, send him some love.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, clearly this guy's got it worse than I do, even though I'm in the ER. Our exchange ended up, I mean, I essentially said, I don't really think you hate humans, or you wouldn't be here as a healer. I think you've been really hurt by humans. And that I was, you know, it's like, why bother trying to not be blunt when you're in a situation like that, where you're in the ER and the nurse says, I hate humans.
Right.
Anyways, the reason I'm sharing that is because it just makes me think, oh, sorry, it ended our exchange. I obviously survived my experience. But as I was leaving, I said to him, I said, I want you to look me in the eye, and I want you to repeat after me. And I made him repeat that phrase. I am a sacred, worthy, luminous being. I'm love, and my love is forgiving. And he did it, totally teared up, started crying, said, thank you.
Wow.
Me on my way. Yeah.
That's amazing.
That was a really powerful experience.
Good for you.
I guess I forgot to tell you that. But it just made me think of how when you were, you know, talking earlier about our hearts, and how we're holding our heart energy, and how the photons coming out and happening during that process of our hearts beating and staying alive. And yet so often I think it's like self-judgment that again, I'll just speak for myself. Like I totally think all that, and I'm judging myself a lot. And I know a lot of other people are too. So could you talk a little bit about how, you know, some tools for letting go of self-judgment?
Sure.
from
Well,
a
everything,
shamanic psychology perspective.
every well, our minds are set up to judge in Western culture. We learn how to be fault finders with ourselves and each other, measuring our behaviors toward others or to some external standard. And when we don't measure up, then we pick up a club and beat ourselves with a stick. So shamanism to me is very practical. It uses the physical plane in alignment, in tune with the spiritual to create results. So when we, one thing for sure, you can put money in the bank on this one. If you want to create suffering for yourself, mental, emotional, spiritual suffering for yourself, and close your heart down and create a consciousness state of constriction and unhappiness, then give all your energy, again, what we put your energy into is going to get stronger, into those judgments, into the negative judgments about yourself. And then just notice what the impact of that is. Just notice what the consequence is of putting energy into, I'm not good enough, I failed, I could have, whatever the negative judgment is. Just pay attention to the direct experience of your life and you'll see 100%. Certainty, very effective strategy to create suffering, is to allow those judgment tapes, thoughts to run in your mind. And it's not that you shouldn't do it. It's not that it's bad. Just notice the consequence of that in your life. And in the moment of being alive, as you notice that consequence, that, wait a minute, I'm telling myself a story that's creating suffering for myself with those judgments. I have a right to do that. There's nothing saying I have to stop it. It's my choice, but take ownership of the consequence. I am choosing on a meta level to create pain and suffering for myself. If in the moment of being alive, I decide, wait a minute, I've had, in my case, going on almost 79 years, enough pain and suffering in my life. And in this moment of being alive, which is all I've got, this is the only time I can ever experience whatever I want to experience is right now. I've got no guarantee after this breath leaves that there'll be another one for me. But I have a guarantee that I'm experiencing this one right now. So I have the power of being present in the moment and paying attention to how I've been creating suffering for myself. I can pull the plug on that right now. And when the next breath comes in, that's my opportunity to co-create a new experience for myself. So it helps me, it's a dynamic, an activating dynamic for me to be present in the moment when the breath comes in and take responsibility for, I'm receiving this gift, it's coming to me free. What do I want to use it for? Do I want to create more suffering? Put the energy in the judgment, identify with it. Yeah, that judgment's absolutely right. I'm a schmuck, I'm a loser, I didn't do it good, I'm almost a failure, whatever it is. And then I experience the consequence. But if I don't want that consequence, I want a different consequence, then I accept, well, there's the judgment. There's my judgmental mind going off again with all of its judgments. It's not who I am. It's not who I am, number one. Who I am is infinite, unconditional light, love. I'm a sacred, worthy, luminous being. My essence of my being is love. I'm loved, and my love is forgiving and receiving. And so I can open myself, my awareness to love's presence. I don't have to ask for it, just like I don't have to ask for the breath. It's given through grace. So it's like one moment at a time, taking responsibility for number one, my intention. What do I want to experience? Suffering or some positive state of being alive in the moment, even in the midst of challenges and what's going on personally in our bodies and our lives. I can still make a choice about what I put my attention into, the story I tell myself. So instead of the story of the judgment, negative judgment, I just pull the plug on it. I hear it, but I don't, it's like I'm facing and saying, yeah, I hear you. Amazing creativity you come up with your judgments. I got to give you that. But I'm not giving you the power to run the show. I like to use the example of if you're driving in the car with your little 2-year-old kid next to you in the seat, in their car seat.
Behind you in the car seat.
Pardon?
behind you in the car seat.
Behind you in the car seat, yeah. When you were little, we didn't even have car
I
seats.
know.
Our old VW bus. You know, you're not going to you get really tired and your eyes are closing and you're, oh my God, I can't drive anymore. It's not safe. I pull over to the side of the road and I pick the 2-year-old up, put it in the driver's seat. Said, I'm going to take a nap. You drive. You're not going to do that, right?
Yeah, that's a great metaphor. I love
Right.
that.
So
Yeah.
don't give the ego identity, which in itself is false, based on the illusionary perception of separation, the power to run the show with its judgments, and believe in it.
Yeah.
And by believing in it, identifying the totality of your being with it. And so you're constricting who you are, and that's creating more separation and fragmentation and more suffering. So the value, the judgments aren't going to go away. I don't think there's some magic formula. I don't know that the Dalai Lama doesn't have judgments come up. In fact, my understanding of having heard some things he's said is that, yeah, judgments come up for him sometimes, but he doesn't identify with them. He doesn't put his energy into them and keep them going and feeding them with his story. Just notice it. Oh, yeah, passing cloud, let it go. Come back into true essence.
Yeah. It makes me think of, oh gosh, I can't remember where I heard this, but like about like attacks, when people are attacking you, either you're attacking yourself, like the best of them, meaning in terms of both being most impactful, not positive, the attacks have a kernel of truth. So like in self-judgment, of course we can find a kernel of truth, but what I'm hearing and what I think you've tried to teach me and many others is, you can acknowledge that truth, and that's not all of who you are. So that's just one little part. Maybe we like learn from that little part, but that doesn't mean that part that is true is the entirety of the picture.
Or the entirety of us.
The entirety of us. Yeah.
Yeah, because
I have that story of, I love that when the self-judgment is like putting the little 2-year-old in the driver's seat when you get tired. I love that. And it makes me remember one time I was on a road trip with Corbin, my son, when he was like probably 2.5, 3 years old. And I was super tired and I pulled over because I knew it wasn't safe to drive. And I told him I just had to close my eyes for a minute, but I undid his car seat so he could like climb around, and he was climbing on me in the other seat. And and I was like, that kind of awareness where you're like aware of what's going on, but you're kind of asleep. And then all of a sudden he's going, mommy, why are you talking about elephants at Kim's house, our friend Kim? And apparently I'd been having some dream about elephants at Kim's house, and it was just so funny. And like him pulling me out of that consciousness. And he still talks about that moment, that was just the weirdest thing. But anyways, I digress, but I just thought it was a funny story to share.
Well, speaking of elephants, I just think the elephants are just such intelligent beings, sensitive and tender with each other, and with great memories and and love for each other, and being slaughtered and threatened is just protection prayers for the elephants, the elephantes.
Thank you. Yeah, and there's so many organizations so many people that are working so hard to stop that. Yeah. So a quick little Google search would help you find a way to support that if you felt called. Let's do, we always do a little visualization on Shamanic Sundays. And since a lot of today's theme has been around photons, the beating of our heart, having more love for ourselves in our hearts and for others, could you take us into a little visualization about opening our hearts and keeping them open for the coming week?
Okay, well, visualization is on the inner plane, so I'll invite listeners to let your eyelids drop down.
Thank you.
And bring your awareness just slowly inside, and just notice whatever it is you notice for a moment or two here. Just noticing in your body, in your feelings, in your energy state, what you're experiencing. And noticing your own rhythm of taking in the gift of the life force flowing in with the breath. How that wave of energy comes into your body and energizes life processes inside of you. And then there's the releasing gift of old energy leaving the body that's not needed with the out breath. And let me invite you to tune into your own creative wisdom, imagination, with what comes up into your awareness with the word gentle, being gentle, gentleness. What kind of feeling state comes up for you? What kind of energy state comes up for you when you focus that gift of your attention on the word gentle, gentleness? Just noticing in the gift of your awareness, what comes up into your awareness as you focus and open to the meaning for you of that word gentle. Excuse me, and being gentle, gentleness. And as a prayer to support us, strengthen our ability to be gentle with ourselves, to be love finders with ourselves instead of fault finders with ourselves. Here's kind of a prayer song, a ceremonial prayer song. I'll sing a few rounds of it and just let the vibrational power of it come into you and activate whatever it does. And you may find as you go through the week that the words of this song come into your awareness. Especially you might notice when you get triggered by something, into reactivity patterns of constriction and tightness and inflammation and suffering, that this song might come into your awareness and help you release that and shift your energy state. It starts with I, everything, intention. I will be gentle with myself. I will love myself, my true self, holy self. For I am a child of the universe. We are one together. We are one together. I will be gentle with myself, gentle with myself. I will love myself, my true self, holy self. For I am a child of the universe. We are one together. We are one together. I will be gentle with myself. May it be so. May it be so. We grow stronger in learning how to be in loving, supportive relationship with ourselves and with the wholeness of our being, the wholeness of our humanity. And remember that we're way more than we think we are. We're connected to and embedded in and live within the infinite creative wisdom, energy, power of the universe, constantly breathing life into us and saying, I love you, I believe in you, and I give you this breath of life for you to choose how you want to use it, to create what experience you want to create for yourself. And you can't go wrong breathing in this gentleness and letting it flow through your body, your mind, your spirit, and your heart. Oh,
Thank you. I think we should all say out loud, we will be gentle with ourselves.
We will be gentle with ourselves. Oh, gentle, gentle.
Yes. And thank you so much for your sharing, Poppy.
My pleasure.
Thank you to our friends and community out there for being here with us, the Shamanic Sundays. It's always a sweet way to gather up some good energy for the week ahead. So I hope your heart is feeling more full and you can continue gentle with yourself and let those good positive photons go out into the universe this week. And please share this. Remember, you can watch it at any time on YouTube, also at Dr. Tom Pinkson. And yeah, tell your friends, family, and we'll see you next Sunday, we hope. Anything else you want to say, Dad?
Vaya con Dios. Go with God,
Okay.
with the great
You
spirit.
all too.
Gentle.
Thank you.
Oh.
Gentle week. All right. Take care, everyone. Bye.